This video starts on number 22. So if we're trying to find the range on 22, the range is equal to the y values. So you're just going through and you're listing all the y values here. Okay, so your y values of that, and you can put it in nice little brackets, are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And on your final, those will be multiple choice also. But it's just your y's. Okay, domain. So domain is your x values. So the domain of this is these. So A, C, E, G, and J. The domain of this is your x values also. Okay, so it says domain. Well, I want to know where on the x-axis does this hit? Well, it starts here at 0 and ends here at 4. Okay, so that's how you're going. And how you want to say is in brackets, because that means that it strictly stops right there, is it goes right in between those two. We're looking for the range of this one. Well, range is our y value, so we want to look at the y-axis. So on the y-axis, it goes from here to forever. So it starts at -5 and ends at infinity. Well, because -5 is a definite starting stopping point, you put it in brackets. Then infinity, we don't really know what that is a number, so we leave it in parentheses. Number 26 has to do with our variation. When a person swims underwater, the pressure of his or her ears varies directly with the depth. Okay, so the pressure is equal to K times the depth. Because remember that that's our equation for direct variation. For direct variation, we have y equals K times X. So I just plugged in the things that it says. So write an equation if the pressure is 4.3 and then we don't know our K value when the depth is 10. So you're going to divide by 10 and get 0.43 is equal to K. Okay, so that's part 1. Part 2 says find the pressure when we're at 60 feet. So what is P when we are at 60 feet? So just plug that into your calculator, and your pressure is going to be 25.8. In the table missing below, these vary inversely. So if you have inverse variation, it's y equals k over x, and if we're trying to find our k value, it's y times x. Well, here we're missing a value. So what I would do is I would look and say, what is my k value? Well, here it's 12. 12. So what's it going to take to make that become 12? Well, a half of 24 is 12. So this one should be A for 1/2. 28. When air is pumped into a tire, the pressure required varies inversely with the volume. So the pressure varies inversely with the volume. So if the pressure is 30 pounds per square inch, we don't know our K value, and a volume of 140 cubic feet. Find the pressure at 100 feet. Okay, so first to get K by itself, we're going to multiply this to the other side. So our K value is going to be 4,200. So now our next question is to find the pressure. Well, we know that K is 4,200 now, when the volume is 100. Well, you can do mental math with that and see that P is going to be 42 for our pressure. The points to -10 lie on a graph of an inverse variation. So inverse variation is y equals k over x. So if we have our x and y, that's going to multiply to give us k. So what we have is an ordered pair. We have 2 and -10. Well, that's x and y. So all of these equations here are solved for a k value. So that's what we want to do, is take 2 times -10 to get -20. That's our k value. And so which one looks like that? Well, one of these two. And you know that it has to look like a fraction. So your answer to this should be B. Number 30. If y varies directly as x. So y varies directly as x. When y is 3 and x is 12, so we need to find our k value first. We're going to divide by 12. So our k value is 1/4. Then part 2 of this says, what is the value of y when x is 18? So you're going to take our k value of 1/4 times 18. And when you do this, I would do it in your calculator because it gives you decimal answers. You get 4.5 as your y value, which is letter C. 31. This gets into our joint variation. So the number of students, so S equals, we need a k value right away, the number of teachers, and the number of administrators squared. So A squared. So we have 1,000 students. We don't know our k value. And then we have 5 teachers and 2 administrators. So 2 squared. So really this is 1,000 is equal to k times 5 times 4. Well, that's going to give us 20. So when you solve that for k is going to be 50. So now I want to know the second part of this, how many students. I'm looking for students. I know my k value is 50 when there are 8 teachers and 1 administrator. So 1 squared. So my students is going to be equal to those multiplied together, which is a pretty easy mental math one, to give you 400 students. 32. Horses vary jointly, so our k value, so jointly as goats, meaning we're going to multiply them, and inversely as pigs squared. So this one, you have 5 horses. We don't know our k value yet. 2 goats and 4 pigs, so 4 squared. Okay, so that one is going to give us 5 is equal to k times 2 over 16. Go ahead and move that to the other side, and then divide by 2, and your k value is going to be 40. So now we're going to plug this back in because the second part says how many goats are there. So we're looking for goats. We know that there are 10 horses. We know that our k value is 40. We're looking for goats, and the number of pigs is 6, so 6 squared. So this is going to be 36 when you square it. Move that to the side and get 360 equals 40 times g. So g then is equal to 9 goats. Okay, so there were 9 goats in this. 33 is again a variation one. Y varies directly, so k times the square root of x, and inversely as z. So now you know that if y is 10, we need to find our k value, square root of 9, and then all over 12. Okay, so when we're solving this, simplify a little bit. We get k, and then this is really going to be times 3 over 12. Move this 12 to the other side. 120 equals k times 3. Divide by 3. So k then is equal to 40. So we're going to go back through and do the same thing with the next part. It says if y is, find y, so we're looking for y. We know that our k value is 40. X is 16, so the square root of 16. And inversely is z, which is 10. So I'm going to rewrite that as 40 times 4 over 10. So you can do this all in one part. So it's going to give you 160 divided by 10. So your y value for this is 16. The nice part about these graphs is that you just really need to find your asymptotes for this. So your vertical asymptote has to do with this. So the vertical is equal to the opposite. So here it's going to be x equals 2 because that's the opposite of the negative 2. So where x equals 2, you can already eliminate d and c. They're already out of there. So you're just looking at these two, and then our horizontal is the same as the outside. So it's y equals negative 2. So we're looking for which one goes through negative 2, and this one up here does not. So your answer to that is C. Same thing on this next one. Opposite here. So x is going to be negative 1. There's nothing sitting out here, so the y is going to be 0. So you're looking for which one is on the x-axis at negative 1. Well, this is a positive 1. This one's at -1. That's a line. I don't even know what that is. And then there's that one. And then this one goes through 0. So this one is also C by process of elimination.